Walking away from a woman is one of the most powerful moves a man can make. And most men have absolutely no idea why. They think leaving means losing. They think the man who stays, who chases, who keeps showing up no matter how he's treated, is the man who wins the woman. That thinking has cost more men more good opportunities than anything else I can think of. What most men do not understand is that a woman's reaction to a man walking away has very little to do with logic and everything to do with psychology. It does not matter how unbothered she appeared on the surface. It does not matter how casually she treated the connection or how much she acted like she could take it or leave it. The moment a man with real value removes himself from her life, something shifts inside her that she was not prepared for and cannot fully control. Her mind starts moving in directions she did not expect. Her feelings surface in ways she would never admit to him directly. And suddenly, the man she was not fully appreciating becomes the man she cannot stop thinking about. I am not here to teach you manipulation tactics or tell you to manufacture distance just to mess with a woman's head. What I am doing today is something far more valuable. I am pulling back the curtain and telling you the honest truth about what actually happens inside a woman when you walk away. The feelings she processes in private, the realizations that hit her when the noise settles, and the psychological shifts that most men never get to see because they came back too soon. There are 9 things a woman feels when you simply walk away. And by the time we are done, you will never second guess your own value again. The silence you leave behind speaks louder one. The silence you leave behind speaks louder than anything you ever said when you are present in a woman's life. Even in small ways, you become part of the rhythm of her day. A good morning text, a check-in call, your name popping up on her screen. She may have acted like those things were normal or even expected, but the moment they stop, she feels the gap immediately. Not tomorrow, not next week, the same day. That absence hits differently than she anticipated, and it catches her completely off guard. She had gotten so used to him being there that she stopped noticing it. The way he stopped noticing background noise until it suddenly goes quiet. He was not demanding or overwhelming. He was just consistently present. Then one day he was not. No explanation, no argument, just silence. And that silence sat in the room with her louder than anything he had ever actually said. That is when something uncomfortable happens inside her. She starts replaying things, conversations, moments, things she said that maybe she should not have. The silence gives her no choice but to sit with her own behavior and actually look at it. When he was there, she could avoid that reflection with him gone. There is nothing to distract her from it. This is why the silence a man leaves behind is so powerful. It does not just signal his absence. It forces her to feel exactly how much space he was actually taking up in her life. Space she never acknowledged while he was filling it. Why her confidence cracks the moment you stop chasing too. Why her confidence cracks the moment you stop chasing. There is something most women will not openly admit, and that is how much of their confidence in a situationship or a relationship is quietly tied to a man's pursuit. Not in a weak way, not in a way she is proud of, but in a very real and very human way. When a man is consistently showing interest, reaching out and making his desire for her known, it creates a subtle but powerful sense of security inside her. She feels chosen. She feels desirable. And often, without realizing it, she starts to take that feeling for granted. The moment you stop chasing, that security disappears. And what replaces it is self-doubt that she was not expecting. She starts asking questions she was not asking before. Was she too distant? Did she say something wrong? Was she not enough to make him stay interested? Those questions are uncomfortable and they come fast. The confidence she was carrying while you were pursuing her was partially borrowed from your attention. And now that the attention is gone, she has to face what is left. This is not about a woman being weak or damaged. This is just honest psychology. Human beings gauge their value partly through how others respond to them. And women are no different. When a high-value man withdraws his attention, it sends a signal that her brain immediately tries to interpret and understand. And that process shakes something in her that she cannot simply logic her way out of. What you need to understand is that your attention has real weight. When you stop giving it freely, She feels that weight lift off her, and suddenly she realizes how much she was relying on it. That realization alone changes how she sees you completely. The panic she will never admit out loud. 3. The panic she will never admit out loud, but absolutely feels when a man walks away. One of the first things a woman feels beneath all the cool and the unbothered exterior is panic. Not the kind she will ever show you directly. Not the kind she will text you about at midnight saying, "I miss you and I was wrong." It is a quiet internal panic that she manages alone, usually while telling her friends she is completely fine and that she does not even care. But she cares more than she expected to. And that surprise is exactly what makes the panic so unsettling. The panic comes from a sudden loss of control. While you were present and pursuing, she held most of the power in the dynamic, and she knew it. She could respond when she felt like it, pull back when she wanted space, and trust that you would still be there when she decided to re-engage. Your walking away removes all of that. Suddenly, she is not the one deciding the pace anymore. And that shift in control is deeply uncomfortable for her. What makes this panic even more intense is that she cannot do anything obvious about it without losing her dignity. She cannot chase you openly without feeling like she is contradicting everything she projected before. So she sits with it. She checks your social media. She pays attention to whether you are watching her stories. She finds small ways to monitor the situation while pretending she has completely moved on. That internal panic is actually one of the clearest signs of how much you mattered. Women do not panic over men they were never invested in. The bigger the panic, the bigger the feeling she was hiding while you were still around. How walking away forces her to see you for how walking away forces her to see you clearly for the first time. There is a strange thing that happens to a woman's perception of a man the moment he walks away. Everything she was casually glossing over while he was present suddenly comes into sharp focus. The effort he was putting in, the patience he was showing, the way he always followed through on his word. None of it felt that significant when it was right in front of her. But the moment it is gone, she sees all of it with a clarity she did not have before. Absence does not just make the heart grow fonder, it makes the eyes open wider. When you are consistently present, a woman can afford to be selective about what she notices. She focuses on what bothers her, what she wishes was different, what she feels is missing. But when you leave, that mental list of complaints gets very quiet very fast. What rushes in to replace it is an honest inventory of everything you actually were to her. And more often than not, that inventory is far more impressive than she was allowing herself to acknowledge while you were still there. This is not her being manipulative or deliberately blind while you were around. It is just how human attention works. We undervalue what feels permanent, and we suddenly appreciate what feels gone. She was not fully seeing you because she did not believe she had to. Your walking away forced her hand and made her look at the full picture whether she was ready to or not. The hardest part for her in this moment is accepting that she had something genuinely good and treated it like it would always be available. That realization does not feel good, but it is necessary, and it is exactly the kind of honest reckoning that your walking away quietly demands from her. 5. The moment she starts comparing every man to you moment. She starts comparing every man to you after you walk away. Something happens that she did not plan for and cannot easily stop. Every new man who enters her life gets quietly measured against you. Not against your looks or your status, but against how you made her feel, how you showed up, and the standard you set simply by being who you were. She may not even realize she is doing it at first. But the comparisons come naturally and consistently. And most of the time the new men do not measure up. He takes her out and does everything right on paper. But something feels slightly off and she cannot explain why. He texts back quickly, plans thoughtful dates, and treats her well. But there is something missing. A quality she experienced before that she is now chasing without fully admitting it. That quality belongs to you. And the frustrating part for her is that she let the man who had it walk out of her life without fully fighting to keep him. This is when regret starts moving from the background to the front of her mind. Every man who falls short of the standard you set without trying reminds her of what she had and did not appreciate. Each comparison is essentially her mind replaying your value on a loop using other men as the measuring stick. It is not something she can simply decide to stop doing because it is not a conscious choice. It is her honest feelings doing the math. The man who becomes the standard a woman compares everyone else to is not always the man she loved the most. He is the man who showed up with the most genuine character and then had the self respect to leave when it was not being honored. That combination is rare enough that it stays with her and shapes her expectations for every relationship that follows. 6. What she does in private. What she does in private after you walk away. After you walk away. What a woman shows the world after a man walks away. And what she actually does in private are two very different things. On the outside, she is composed, unbothered, and moving on with her life. She is posting, laughing with friends, and giving every impression that she is completely fine. But behind closed doors, when the noise of the day settles and it is just her alone with her thoughts, a very different story is playing out. She goes back through everything. Messages, memories, moments she had not thought about in weeks suddenly feel very present. She is not doing this because she is obsessive or unstable. She is doing it because her mind is trying to make sense of something that caught her off guard. She thought she had more time. She thought he would always be available. And now that the door has closed, she is standing in front of it, replaying every moment she could have walked through it and chose not to. She also pays close attention to your life from a distance. She notices if you seem unbothered. She notices if you are thriving and if you are handling your exit with dignity and moving forward quietly. That affects her more than any angry message or dramatic goodbye ever could. A man who walks away and does not fall apart is a man she suddenly has a great deal of respect for, even if she will not say it. What she does in private after you leave tells the real story of how she felt about you. And almost always that private story is far more honest than anything she showed you while you were still there. Why some women come back and what it actually means. 7. Why some women come back and what it actually means. Let me be straight with you about this, because a lot of men misread it completely. When a woman comes back after a man walks away, most men immediately see it as victory. They think she came back because she loves them, because she finally realized their worth, because everything is going to be different this time. And sometimes that is true. But sometimes she came back simply because the discomfort of losing you became louder than her reasons for letting you go. And those are two very different things. A woman who comes back with genuine growth is not hard to recognize. She is honest about what went wrong. She does not minimize her behavior or rewrite the history of what happened between you. She comes back with humility and with something different to offer, not just with the same energy dressed up in a little more urgency. That woman deserves a real conversation. That woman has done the honest work that your walking away forced her to do. But the woman who comes back simply because your absence made her uncomfortable because she does not want someone else to have you because her ego took a hit and she wants to restore the balance of power. That woman has not changed anything. She has just missed the feeling of having you available. And if you go back to that without seeing the difference clearly, you will find yourself in the exact same position you walked away from just further down the road. Here is the wake-up call. Walking away is only powerful if you are willing to stay gone when going back does not make sense. Your value is not proved by leaving. It is proved by knowing the difference between a woman who genuinely sees you and a woman who simply does not want to lose access to you. Know that difference and protect yourself accordingly. Conclusion here is the most honest thing I will say in this entire video. Most women do not realize what they had until the man who had the most patience, the most genuine interest, and the most real potential quietly removed himself from their life. Not because he was dramatic, not because he wanted a reaction, but because he finally respected himself enough to stop waiting for her to catch up. And that is not sad. That is actually one of the most attractive things a man can do. Everything covered in this video, the silence, the panic, the private replaying of moments, the comparisons, the clarity that only comes after loss, all of it points to one simple truth. Your presence has weight. Your absence has power. And a man who understands his own value does not beg to be seen by someone who keeps choosing not to look. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever walked away from a woman and watched exactly what I described play out in real life? Or maybe you're the woman watching this and you recognize yourself in some of these sections. Either way, drop your experience in the comments below. I read every single one and I will be in there responding because these conversations are exactly why I make this content. You watch this for a reason. Trust that reason. And the next time you find yourself wondering whether walking away is the right move, remember this. A man who knows his worth never has to convince anyone else 10 minutos. Hasta entonces, querido.